I think my video is cooking. Okay, it's lasagna time. This recipe is mostly from Mario Batali, but I have some things that I do differently my way. It starts with the bolognese, and I think the people of Bologna don't actually call it bolognese, they call it ragu. But anyway, I took a lot of inspiration from him, and I'll take you all through the different steps. The first thing in my pan, I always put some olive oil. And what I'm going to do is, I don't have pancetta. I couldn't find any at the store, so this is nice fat bacon with my substitute. I like to use pancetta if I can, but I can't find it. So first thing I'm going to do is just make this really brown and crispy, then take it out to the next step. So the bacon is cooking, and the little pieces are nice and crispy, so I'm just actually removing those here and putting them on my towel while I let the bigger pieces continue to cook and crisp up. And that way I won't burn the little ones. But this actually, even if you don't add the bacon back at the end to the pot, you still flavored up all of this oil. Actually, I think this is pretty well done. I think what I'm just gonna do is just scoop all of this out now. And I'll have to lower the heat so it doesn't burn my oil or my meat. Okay, that was kind of medium high. And I'm gonna end up smoking up the house. Okay, so finished taking this out. Now the next thing I'm gonna add, and actually, as I recall, you add that in near the end after everything is ready and it's a sauce and ready to cook up. Ooh, that looks so yummy and crispy. I said I usually do the pancetta because that's what it calls for, but bacon's a nice substitute when you don't have it. Hang on. Okay, next step, you see that pan smoking? I'm gonna add ground beef. This is probably about 2 pounds. There's a lot of meat there. Actually, probably close to the 3 pounds. Yeah, that's not even a notice. We're taking search from that. Okay, now I have about 10 links of Italian sausage, and I usually just squeeze it out of the casing like this. I usually like to add hot Italian sausage, but all I had was mild. So I'm using mild. But if you want to, if that's your case, you can always add red pepper flakes to add some of the heat back in. So this is just going to cook and brown. The more of this meat I add, the less sizzle. I'm probably going to have enough of this sauce to feed an army. But we're having a party for my mom in a couple of weeks, and that's what she asked for. It was lasagna, garlic toast, and salad. I was thinking of making her my magic meatballs, but she wants lasagna. Okay, and I'll have to show you one day my Mexican lasagna, which is also good. Okay, Maya's having an attack because they went to the golf course without her. Oh, you hear her? Okay, I'm going to season as I go. So here's just sprinkle salt, not overdoing it. Sprinkle pepper, and usually when you season as you go a little bit each step, you don't have to add a ton of it at the end. So here's some oregano, which I love to put in the sauce. And then right now I'm just gonna keep sort of like I did before, just chopping and browning all of that meat together. Okay, so it's coming, it's browning, and I'm just using my spoon here to sort of chop all of this up into tiny little pieces, as uniform as possible. And my dogs are having a fit because somebody went out to the golf course without them. And I'll be right back. Okay, so it's continuing to cook and to brown. It's almost ready to take out for the next step. It's coming along nicely. So I told you my mom wants lasagna for her birthday. It's going to be her 80th birthday, and we're trying to get everybody over, kids, grandkids, everybody, for the celebration. Her birthday is actually next week, but we can't get everybody together for a couple more weeks, so that's when we're having it. But you know what? We might incorporate my nephew and my daughter and their birthdays into it and have a big celebration for everybody. That might be fun. And actually, this meat, if it's not even entirely browned now, it's like 95% brown. Even if it's not entirely brown, it'll finish browning in the sauce when it's cooking. So I think what I'm going to do is start dishing it out and putting it into my little container here so that we can get ready for the next step. Okay, so I took the majority of the meat out. The next step is to cook your mirepoix, or your onions, carrots, and celery. I'll have to throw in some garlic in here too. And of course it's not hot anymore. I've got to let that get hot. Raise it up back up to medium high. It's just a big pot and there's a lot in there, so the more you have in there, the higher it probably needs to be. And I'm going to throw in a little bit of butter into there. More flavor. So it's starting to sizzle a little more. I'm going to cook these. I'm going to warm it up and cook these more down until they're softening. I'll be right back. It is starting to warm up. As I said before, a big heaping scoop. Continue to stir this up. Again, a little more salt, a little more pepper, a little more garlic, and I'll be right back. Okay, so this is cooking down nicely, softening up. So now I'm gonna add, this is about half a bottle. Probably gonna add a cup. Okay. Add the rest of it. And this we are going to cook, stir, deglaze the pan, and let it cook down and condense, reduce, before we add anything more. Okay, that's reduced by over half, a half to 3/4. Now I'm going to add beef stock, and this is probably 12 to 16 ounces. We're going to stir and let this continue to cook down and reduce. Same concept. Now about a cup of heavy cream. Not quite a cup. Probably need to get a little more. Let's see what I can find. A little bit more here. Let's see here. There you go. That's a cup. Continue to stir this. What I might do now is add this meat back in. Whoop! This is the sausage and beef. Then finally, my tomatoes. And I believe normal bolognese, as you would call it, just calls for like a whole can of tomato paste. But, and I have tomato paste. I'm putting that in here. You'll see. That's nice. I also like to add tomatoes. So there's one big jug of tomatoes. And I have another little container of tomatoes because I don't have two big jugs. again, it's gonna be chopping, cooking, kind of emulsifying as much as possible. I think these are the major ingredients. Now it's just going to be to continue to cook so that the flavors will soften, blend, finish the seasoning, and I usually cover it, simmer it, and just let it cook for hours while it finishes this part. What I might do in the meantime, I have this huge rind of Parmesan. Here's Giada's trick. I'm gonna throw that in there to help it cook. So what I'm gonna do is finish chopping up some of these tomatoes. I will bring it to a boil, cover it, simmer it for hours, and then come back and check it. So I have all of my ingredients prepared. The sauce, the sort of, it's like a bolognese sauce that I made, which I've been reheating and heating and warming and heating. It's very well blended and it's delicious. I have noodles, and I'm using these oven ready just because it's easier. I have a bechamel sauce, has my cheese layer, and then of course I forgot to video the bechamel, so I'll have to make another video with bechamel sauce. And I might make a mac and cheese, because bechamel is actually the basis for mac and cheese. It's equal parts of flour and butter. You cook it on the bottom of a pan to sort of, for a few minutes, to cook up the flour, to get rid of the flour, raw flour taste. Then you add milk. In my case, I like cream because it's richer. And then you just salt and pepper, stir and cook until it starts to boil. Once it starts to boil, it will start to thicken. So I whisk it constantly until I see that, and then I take it off the stove. If you're making mac and cheese, you throw in your cheese, you throw in your noodles, and then you can do whatever you want with it. So I have that, I have my meat sauce, I have my noodles, and just because I want to add a little extra richness, I'm gonna put mozzarella and Parmesan in there too. So I have a pan. This is easy because I can throw this away and I have to wash it afterwards, and I will put this together. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is take some of my sauce and just spread that, ooh, it's hot, over the bottom. This will keep the noodles from sticking. Usually at this point, I throw on a layer of noodles. What we always did was cook the big lasagna noodles, and then of course, they stuck to each other and got really nasty. So this might be a nice way. Oh, perfect, 3, okay. Now I'm just gonna add some more sauce. This is starting the actual next layer. Can you see what I'm doing? Might be helpful. Okay. Throw a little more on there, make it rich and beautiful. Now I'm going to add some of the bechamel as the cheesy sauce. Just throw that on there. And because I like to make it extra rich and beautiful, I'm going to sprinkle a layer of mozzarella. My mom used to make this with ricotta. And I think you could still do ricotta instead of the bechamel, or with the bechamel, or with the mozzarella. I think you can kind of make it anything you want. Now I have some freshly grated Parmesan. I'm going to sprinkle a little layer of that all over. And then another layer of these. They look like cardboard, don't they? The oven right now is preheating to 350. So we'll throw in more of the meat. Oh, not my big Parmesan chunk. Oh, you see it? Yeah, I don't want that in there. But I left it in there the whole time so it can continue to boil away and flavor the rest of this. That's pretty. Now let's add some more of the bechamel. Let's try it. And more of my mozzarella. It's gonna be like more of a creamy, stringy cheese. I think you do this more for the texture than anything else. Maybe I'll add some more. You know, I like everything rich. And more Parmesan, which is what you're gonna use for your flavor. Beautiful, okay. Maybe one, oh, you know, I think I forgot. One more layer of this, oops. Okay, that's gonna have to be the last layer because this is about 2/3 full. Now, I will add more of the sauce. More of the bechamel. And this is gonna be perfect because I'm gonna just finish it with the cheese. I'll put the rest of this, see if I can drizzle this all over. I don't want any leftovers. It's probably pretty good. Okay. More of the mozzarella. Mozzarella. I'm probably gonna have to add more because I want it really cheesy and beautiful, but I think it's gonna be beautiful anyway. Let me just get a little bit more. Perfect. And another sprinkle of Parmesan evenly over the top. Now this is going to go into a 350-degree oven probably for about 30 minutes until this is bubbling and nice and toasty. Okay, here it is. It fell apart a little bit because it's still a little bit hot. When I take it out later as it cools and solidifies, it'll come out in nice, beautiful little squares. It almost made it, but at any rate, it's time to taste. Need a little piece of noodle. Let's see. I don't want to burn my mouth. Very tasty. Very savory and rich and creamy. That's delicious. All right, don't take it from me.
This is outstanding. Flavorful, rich. Yeah, really rich. If you're on a diet, you might want to watch out for this or not eat so much, but the flavor is fantastic.
Let's take a taste. Let me see.
So rich, creamy, very good.